It's time for a new way, a new set of ideas, a new leader, one you can trust, one who works for you, and above all, it's time for a new president.
Senator Rand Paul posting that political ad yesterday, just days ahead of his expected announcement to run for president in 2016. He is branding himself as, quote, a different kind of Republican leader. But will the message resonate? Joining us now is proactive communications president and campaign advisor to former President George H.W. Bush, Mark Serrano. Mark, good to have you on the program. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning, Maria.
Your reaction to Rand Paul?
You know, any candidate who easily dismisses Rand Paul as an opponent does so at his or her peril. Rand Paul is an Uber-style candidate in an election where the Republicans are likely to nominate an outsider, an anti-establishment candidate who will likely run against the establishment candidate in Hillary Clinton.
And do you think his message is going to resonate with the big money donors? I mean, you know, for example, the audit the Fed is one of his main messages. Does that scare a portion of, like, for example, big corporate donors and Wall Street donors?
Yes, I think so. I think you're right in that the establishment, the large donors may not be there for him, certainly not as much as they are for a Bush-style candidate. But keep in mind, he has aligned himself with a lot of young voters. He's aligned himself with a lot of issues that, you know, about personal freedom and economic freedom that are going to appeal to a real cross-section of people in America. And his digital game is really on point. He has been very active with social media. He's got an entire team set up. He's got Google advisors there on premises during his announcement tomorrow. And he's really going to reach out. I think he's going to have a very broad appeal. I think he's going to probably be the highest small donor candidate in the race. So that may make up for what he lacks with some of the big donors you're talking about.
Do you think he's changed his message a bit along the way over this last year, moving away from sort of his libertarian roots and trying to attract some of the more mainstream donors and voters out there?
Well, I think Rand Paul will always be identified with his father and his father's base. Frankly, I think Ron Paul ran last time to support and build out an infrastructure for his son to run with. But, you know, Rand Paul is his own man. I think he probably has just broadened his message. Look, this guy is a risk taker. This guy is challenging the basis of the welfare state. He is challenging the establishment in Washington, D.C., and he's going to do so by, for instance, he went to Howard University, an all-black audience, to talk about economic liberties. This is a guy who's willing to take risks. And so, yes, I think he's broadened his message quite a bit in the past year, but I don't think he's necessarily being a different candidate for this race. I think we're just learning more about him.
All right, so if you had to comprise a couple of sentences in really what his platform is, the audit the Fed part of the platform has been, you know, so much out there and talked about. But give me a concise, you know, a platform that he's running on from your standpoint.
Well, I think he said it himself: defeat the Washington machine and, you know, renew the American dream. So I'm not going to make up my own. I think he's got it himself. He's going to be an anti-establishment candidate. He's going to talk about the failures of Washington, D.C. You're right. He talks about the Fed quite a bit and, you know, esoteric economic issues. But that just demonstrates his depth of understanding of how far off course we are, that we have an economy that's so controlled by Washington.
Yeah, you're right. So it sounds like you think he has a really good shot.
I think it's going to be an exciting race. I'm glad to see a candidate like Rand Paul in the race and Ted Cruz. This is the year that the Republicans, I guarantee you, they will pick an outsider. They will pick a Ronald Reagan-style candidate this time to go up against Hillary Clinton, who represents the establishment. And America is done with the establishment, at least the pendulum swinging back that way.
And you think Hillary Clinton will not have any issues, you know, sort of being the candidate, given her email issues and sort of the negativity around her right now?
Oh, you can't be a Clinton without having issues. Boy, does she have issues.
Yeah.
She has issues, and she will have issues, but she's got the establishment behind her. They believe that it's her due, and they're not going to get in her way, no matter what her issues, because that's what you get with a Clinton.
Mark,
no doubt.
Yeah, good to have you on the show, Mark. Thanks so much for your insights.
Thanks, Maria.
Mark Serrano is Proactive Communications President.